Guys, Happy New Year and welcome to the very first episode of the Quimby Chronicles Momcast. It is Celebrate Life this week, and in honor of that, we're going to be discussing some self-care.
So, in discussing self care, we're going to actually talk about what self care actually is, what it's defined as, what it looks like for us, our barriers that prevent us from doing self care on a regular basis, and how we overcome those barriers. I can't talk this morning. You ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this. All right, so let's talk self-care. Before we talk about what self-care looks like to us, what we're going to do is see how it's defined. So self-care is defined as,
according to Oxford Languages, it is the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness.
All right, so you got all that? Taking an active role. That's the part that, for me, is so hard, and I'm gonna gather that it's that way for all moms. But it's the taking an active role, because so many times we just let our stuff fall by the wayside in like trying to do things for our kids, making sure our kids are good, making sure the house is good. You are making sure everybody else's, well-being is uplifted, but all the meanwhile, you're pouring from a cup that's empty because you're not pouring into yourself. So, one of our big goals this year is to continue to incorporate self-care, active self-care, consistent self-care, so that way we can pour into who we need to pour into without draining ourselves. So let's talk about what self-care looks like. What does self-care look like for you?
I would say self-care for me looks like being able to take a shower that's longer than maybe 2 minutes, or being able to do a face mask, or going to get your nails done.
She don't really need no more than 2 minutes, but whatever. Go on.
We digress. We digress. That's the time that you used to wind down in the shower or put on a concert, whichever your vibe is. Because I know I will sure do both. I will decompress, but I will also put on an entire performance.
And I'm definitely with the concert vibe myself. I actually bought some Amazon Echo, the little pods, so that we could all sing in the bathroom. Because who doesn't like a good shower concert? Who doesn't? Okay? Because, I used to be T-Bars from TLC back in the day, but, now my voice is a little... So, vocal cords, they're not what they used to be. But still, okay? Still. Who doesn't love a shower concert? So you talked about what, like the self-care you talked about is like regular stuff that we should be able to do. But if you were to dream up the perfect day of self-care, what would that look like, you think?
Oh, wow. Perfect day of self-care. I'm not really much of a breakfast person anymore, but I have been on a hot chocolate kick as of the past couple of months. I've been on a hot chocolate kick, but
killing it.
Not really eating breakfast that much anymore. I used to love eating breakfast. I would say, so waking up, getting some hot chocolate, and I don't even know, just having some time where I'm not hearing mommy every 3 seconds, or someone's crying because they need me. Just uninterrupted moment, or just silence. That wouldn't even have to be the whole day. I would just need just a little chunk out of the day.
I know that's right. and that's the difference in, being a newer mom and having been a mom for a while and having older kids, thank you, Jesus. Because I was there, okay? 2 kids under 2, like I was there. But, so my idea of self-care was that. It was, I need peace and, stuff like that. But as my kids have gotten older and, they've started being able to fend for themselves, with the exception of Lyric, I'll just ball out. I'll just be like, hey, excuse me, can you watch your sister? Because I'm gonna go. And it'll be anything from going to have a meal with one of my friends. I don't have that many, but going to have a meal with one of my friends. I'm going to get my nails done, or my toe. Well, not so much my nails anymore, but getting my toes done and stuff like that. Those things. Those are things that refill my cup. Reading, botanical gardens, honey, because I love me some plants and some flowers. So just regular stuff, but places where I could let my hair down and I can relax and I don't have to think about what's for dinner. I don't have to think about who didn't do their chores. I don't have to think about any of that stuff. So, I don't have that constant nagging of those responsibilities, in the back of my head. So, it don't take much for me, honey. So not much at all. So that's what self-care looks like for us. So next we'll talk about the barriers that prevent us from being able to do this decompression and being able to do the things that pour into ourselves. So what do you think are some boundaries that prevent you from doing self-care or even having self-care be a thought? Because I know for me anyway, sometimes I'm like, dang, I've been momming all day and I've done nothing for me. So what are some of the things that keep you in, that mommy mode, that prevent you from taking care of Shantae?
I would definitely say it's the fact that I choose to find something to do when both of my kids are sleeping instead of taking a minute to do something for me, whether it's take a nap or, like I said earlier, a face mask, maybe just getting anything done that would be for me instead of looking for something to do that's not really contributing towards self-care for me.
And let me tell you that I love that you said that, because you now get it as a mom. You get it.
I do.
Before, and which is why I love that you have that unique perspective of, being my kid, but still now you're a mom. So it's like, dang, like I finally get it. And they always say we don't get it until we have kids, but
this is true.
I love, right. Right. I love that you said that, because it's a real thing that you don't get it. And, you always feel like, well, dang, I just asked, for something for my concert for next week or whatever, and she bit my head off. But it's not necessarily you in that moment or, that one moment, but it's a compounding effect. It's, that I had to holler at somebody earlier, like, dang, I gotta go pay bills. Somebody's asking me, hey, what's for dinner? I'm hungry. Oh, we don't have any snacks. We don't have the juice I like. So then by the time you come along and you like, hey, mom, remember we talked about, I'm at the end of my rope and I'm going to snap. So I'm so glad that you say that, because you get it. And not that it's right, because I'm definitely working on, doing better and not flipping my crap on the children all the time. But it's hard. It's such a balancing act. What else? What are some other boundaries? What are those?
Definitely having my youngest spoiled to where she cannot be set down anywhere without screaming. Because
I mean, good, okay.
I did it with my son too, but my girl, she's a crybaby. She is a crybaby.
She said, "Hold my blanket."
You set her down for 2 seconds. She's screaming at the top of her lungs like someone's hurting her. It's insane. And I did it to myself, and I know, and I had warnings, and I still did it to myself. I just can't help it. I cannot help it. I can't.
She is a cutie.
I have to hold my babies.
And it's hard. It's hard to not hold the baby, when they're brand new, because it's like that smell, and you get the snuggles, and they're not like a toddler, because a toddler 1 minute would be like, oh my gosh, mommy, I love you, then the next minute they like, no, and you getting mushed in the face.
Especially my toddler.
Yeah,
yes.
Well,
he will switch it up very quickly. Quickly.
Well, she ain't a toddler anymore, but when she was a toddler, so let me tell you, I give my kids numbers. So this is number 1. Okay, number 2 is Jasmine, number 3 is Sean, number 4 is Lyric, and number 4 is 10 years younger than number 3. So, honey, honey. Okay, so she was something serious. I don't know if y'all remember that challenge where they'd be like, "Oh, go put your head in your toddler's lap and see what they
Oh, yeah.
do." Yeah, she shoved my head off. So I mean,
Get your head on her lap all the way. She already knew what was coming. She said no.
I mean, you know, so, but she's a daddy's girl, which I ain't mad about because I was a whole deadbeat mom with her. And, you know, that's a story for another day, but I can't even be mad, okay? That's daddy's baby up there, okay? I'm just here. I'm just here to facilitate the growing up. I was just facilitating her entry into the world and her growing up, but that's about it, okay? Because that's not my baby. But back to talking about the barriers, you know, where you say, oh, you know, I always find something to do. It's so hard. And that's another thing I'm glad that you said, because they always be like, oh my God, go sit down. You always doing something. Because I have all this stuff, you know, the stuff that I have to do. The list is up here. The stuff that I want to do or the stuff that I love to do, it's like this big. So when I finally get into where I could do the things that I want to do, then I don't want to stop. I want to see it all the way through. I want to get finished, you know, stuff like that. So they would always be like, oh my God, like you up and you going from, you know, sun up to sundown. But, you know, at one time, that's the only way that I was able to get those things that light my soul on fire. That was the only way I was able to get them in, you know, because I'm going to do it, you know, by any means necessary. And so, but then that led to me just constantly being on the go and, you know, just wearing myself out, you know, burning the candle at both ends. So that's definitely one of my barriers also, just balancing that time. But I will say I've done a lot of work over the past year to try to remedy that, you know, so I balance and, you know, I gave more responsibility to the children. Now I got to run behind them about the responsibility I gave them, but, you know, running behind them takes up a lot less time than me actually doing whatever the task is. So I got to look at it that way and not what we moms always do and be like, oh my God, if I want it done right, I'm gonna do it myself. No, you gonna do it wrong, then I'm gonna tell you, hey, well, look, hey, and then you gonna do it again, and then I'm gonna be like, all right, it's almost. Then you gonna get an attitude, and then they gonna do it again. But in the long run, you know, it benefits them and it benefits me, because there will come a day where I don't have to run behind them and be like, hey, you did it wrong, because we already went through that. And then, you know, I get to do more of what I want to do and not having to, you know, just succumb to whatever, you know, the whims of each person in the family are. And there are a lot of us. We got a big family here. We got a big family. But it works. It works. So the barriers for you said, was not taking your naps with the children. And what was the other one? It was feeling like you had to do something all the time. I thought it was one more.
Oh, the fact that I spoiled my youngest.
Oh,
to where I cannot set her down for
honey,
more than 30 seconds.
honey, because Cece do not play the radio with her, okay? At all.
She's not. She gets me all the way together. It's okay. It's okay.
She said, let me humble you real quick. Oh, you thought the first one was easy? See? Second, number two. Number two does that to you. And just for those of you out there who think, you know, oh, well, it's just number two. No. I have discovered, okay, that it's 2, and then it's 4. Yeah, because number 4 is basically a carbon copy of number 2.
Yeah.
But she's a lot more advanced, because, you know, we were all older than her, so she's a lot more advanced, and she's a lot more articulate. So, okay, let me tell you about that combination, okay? So 2 and 4, they get you together. So we've talked about barriers, which I said, you know, my barriers are pretty much the same thing. Focusing on what everybody needs, what the house needs, what I got to do. Focusing on the needs versus, you know, my wants, and not having a better balance. That was, or probably still is, I guess, my biggest barrier. So how do you think you would overcome those those barriers. Let's talk about it. Don't look. You say you're talking about.
Okay, because I'm not gonna lie, guys. I think with my youngest, I dug too deep on that one. I think that one's a lost cause at this point.
No, I don't think so. I think as she gets a little bit older, then you can, as she starts being able to do things on her own, then that'll decrease the amount of time she wants to be in your hand. Because you got to think, in a little bit, honey, she gonna be trying to run behind Luca and the girls. Like, so she's not gonna want to fool with you. Like, all right, mom, thank you, I love you, but I'm gonna go with the children, okay? So it's temporary, and I mean, it sucks whenever you're trying to get something done, but I mean, it is what it is, and just
it sucks, especially because I am your daughter, and I always want to be getting something done.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something in my head that I want to be doing at all times.
But then maybe that's a good thing. Sit down somewhere is what the universe might be saying, because I'm just saying. I mean, maybe you look at it like that, just sit down somewhere, just have a seat.
Just chill out.
Yeah, just have a seat. And then your other barrier, so it was Selena, and then your other barrier was always wanting to do something. Like instead of when they sleep, you sleep.
Yes.
So how do you think you could overcome that?
I would say down the line when my youngest is able to be on a schedule, that'd be a lot easier.
I mean, it doesn't look horrible, so it's okay. We'll just keep going.
That was embarrassing. You're just gonna sit there and cut off.
We lost our lighting. Sorry.
Oh.
When you said when Selena's able to be on a schedule.
Oh yes, then I could have. Yeah, that's been me slowly, and I was trying to scoot it back without making it noticeable.
Mm-mm.
I would say whenever my youngest is able to be on a schedule, then it'd be easier to set out certain times of the day where I'm like, hey, I have 2 hours, I want to get this done.
Right.
Or I want to go and do this in this time frame.
Right.
It'd be a lot easier to do that once she's able to be on a schedule.
Yeah.
But for now, we just ride with the waves.
We rolling with it. For me, overcoming my barriers, I think, like I said, I started last year focusing on me and focusing on filling my cup before I fill everybody else's, because that just makes sense, right? Because how I'm gonna give you something I don't have, so just continuing that journey and continuing to do things that make me happy or do things just because I want to, so I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress, but I'm working on it. So, so that's it in a nutshell. So today we talked about what self-care is. We talked about what it looks like for us. We talked about our boundaries, and we talked about how we plan to overcome those boundaries or plan to continue working toward overcoming those boundaries. So that is it, right, for today's episode. And we want to thank you so much for being with us on this first episode. Again, Happy New Year. And sorry we lost our lighting. We're going to do better next time, okay? Just stick with us, okay? We had a little,
Just had to use this one to get all the kinks out. It's okay.
Just stick with us. We so appreciate you. We hope you have a wonderful first week of 2024. And we will see you back here next